Good evening, everyone. The time is 6:32. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Uh, Mayor Pro Tem Ferguson, could you do the invocation, please?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Father God, we just give you glory and honor. We thank you, Lord, for your mercies that are new every morning. We thank you for your grace that is sufficient. And we thank you that you are faithful and consistent in your faithfulness. Father God, we ask that you would guide us and lead us and guide us today in wisdom and in peace in this meeting this evening. And Father, we just thank you in advance for a productive meeting. We ask that you would bless our citizens of Glenarden, our employees, and our families. In Jesus' name we pray, amen and amen.
Amen. Council Clerk, should do the roll call, please?
Yes. Councilwoman Cross. Councilwoman Cross. All right. Councilman Harrison.
Here.
Councilman Herring.
Here.
Councilwoman Jones.
Here.
Councilman Williams. Councilman Williams.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ferguson.
Here.
Mayor Curtis.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay. And again, I just want to apologize again that my camera's not on. As you can see from the dark screen, it's active, but it's just not working for some reason for the first time ever. So unfortunately, until it gets back up, my camera looks like it'll be blank. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any opposition? Hearing none, by unanimous consent, the agenda is hereby adopted. There were a couple items on the agenda that should be brief that we can take first. One is the trash contract extension. Mr. Garden, I know you pointed out that the current contract ends in September, and you're suggesting that we extend it for a year while we go through the bidding process. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
that's correct. I think we probably want to go ahead and do a bid process. But with the contract coming up in September, we don't have time to adequately do a full bid. So it would be helpful, I think, to get authorization to extend it for up to 1 year.
Okay.
And I haven't gotten feedback from council members or staff really on the vendor and if there are any concerns, but it will give us some time to talk through all of that.
Okay. One sec. Oh, no. Mr. Guerrero, I just want to make sure I have I see I have host tools. Thank you. Any opposition to Mr. Gardner extending the contract for 1 year while we go through the bidding process?
Don't we have to vote on that?
Yeah, oh, well, I guess I can make a motion. I motion that the city extends the contract for a year with a good trash company. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any opposition?
Could you call for the vote?
Yep. Council Clerk?
Yes. Councilwoman Cross. Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilman Herring.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jones.
Yes.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ferguson.
Yes.
and Mayor Curtis.
Yes.
The initiative is passed.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next one is Glenarden Community Garden Day. The contractor has suggested July 25th or August the 1st as a day when to host information sessions. Mr. Garden, do you have anything to add to this? You're on mute. You're on mute.
I'm sorry, thank you. Maybe easier to have it on the 25th to give a little space between it and National Night Out, but if council have other preferences or issues with either date, it'd be good to hear them now.
Council, any discussion, any opposition to having it on the 25th? Okay.
Okay, we'll proceed. Thank you.
I think the Public Works Director vacancy goes into the budget discussion, unless people want to, council members want to talk about that separately. Well, Mr. Gardner, since you have it here, you can go ahead and proceed with what you're requesting.
Excuse me. Ms. Schultz and I have talked about,
Point of order, Mayor, before Mr. Garner. Shouldn't
Yes,
that be a
sir.
closed,
Councilman Harry?
shouldn't that be a closed meeting item since we are talking about a personnel issue?
I think if I may, Mayor, we could talk about the vacancy and not discuss some of the items that I had emailed to you in open session.
Yeah.
Or we could save it all for another time.
You can talk about the vacancy, but not the
Right.
just overall. Yeah.
Sure. So unfortunately, as you know, the candidate we had made the offer to declined the offer. And I understand that during the course of the search that council has reviewed a lot of applications and interviewed a number of candidates. So we wanted to know whether at this point council is interested in interviewing any of the candidates again that you may have previously interviewed, or other candidates who had applied, or if you would suggest pausing the search and perhaps reopening it. Probably, I guess we could open it perhaps in end of July, August, and keep it open through September. It's not the best time to search for an applicant, but I wanted to get some direction from council on how you wish to proceed.
Thank you. Um, Council members have any comments on what Mr. Gardner just said relating to the vacancy? Councilmember Williams. Councilman Williams. Okay. Councilwoman Jones.
Thank you, Mayor Curtis. I think that, in my opinion, concerning this matter, I think that we should move forward with having another search started. Because I think we pretty much looked through all of the candidates after the candidates that Human Resources sent over. We looked at through the rest of the candidates, and we did interviews with some of those, but those didn't pan out either. So I think that we should start another search.
Okay.
Begin again. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Williams, I saw that your hand was raised and went down.
Yeah, I'm trying to do this from my phone, so it's kind of difficult. So bear with me. It keeps popping up and popping down. Uh, I would ordinarily I would say go along with the search. So, but I did not interview candidates, and Ms. Jones just said, particularly I didn't. I guess it wasn't a second or third ranked individuals for the public works position. So if the council who interviewed did not feel that none of the people who interviewed except for the candidates they decided, then I guess it would be the next step would be to open it up. But I would just pause it if any of the ones that y'all did interview a second or third choice, then I would take that and talk to them again and see if they were interested instead of going through a whole process all over again. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments from council members? Any opposition to opening it up again and re-advertising? Ms. Schultz?
Good evening, everyone. When I was the candidate declined while I was at SHRM, so I was able to have a in-depth discussion with Indeed. I think we may need to talk offline as to exactly how we want to recruit. As you know, we recruited for 30 days at a particular cost per day. Their suggestion was to maybe shorten the recruitment time and to increase the cost per day, which means increase the caliber of candidates, but not exceed the budget that we had already established. The only problem with doing that is MML, who has not provided candidates through any of this, minimum time frame is 30 days. They suggested, Indeed suggested trying 15 days. See, the caliber is what we want. If it doesn't work out, then we can go back out. So instead of having another 30-day vacancy announcement, we have a 15-day vacancy, basically on our website and Indeed. And those two sources have produced candidates. MML has not. So with your concurrence, then I can re-advertise it at a higher rate for 15 days to see if the caliber of candidates increases to your expectations. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments from council members on that?
Yeah, Mayor.
Yes, Councilman Harry.
Yes, right quick. So we advertise for 15 days, and if we don't get any, we got to advertise again for 15 days. Is that right, Ms. Schultz?
That's it. But right now we were paying $10 a day for 30 days. So the way the scale works in Indeed is the more you pay to recruit, then the higher the caliber is. It's like a scale of 1 to 10. So
how much is it for 15 days is what?
We only budgeted $300. It's what we said when I talked to you about this originally. It's what we said all we were going to do. So for 15 days, we'll be looking at $20 a day versus $10 a day. And if you all,
$300.
right, exactly. I was not going to increase our budget, correct.
All right. Okay. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Just to piggyback on that, how does that get us more candidates?
What, think of a scale of 1 to 10 and 10 being the top. When you advertise free, which you only do one time now on Indeed anyway, you get everybody. The bottom of the barrel, you get everybody. The higher up you go on the scale as far as paying for candidates, the caliber of the candidates changed. And I think this one, there were at least 3 or 4 that were better than what we had seen previously. They have some weird pricing. So agencies are allowed to make their own budget, is what they call it. And when I found out that we would have to start paying going forward because we had advertised 3 for 1, it was determined by council that we would spend no more than $300 to recruit for the position, and that's $10 a day. So that's not at the bottom, not in the middle, but close to. And the higher you budget it, then the better the candidates are.
Okay. Councilwoman Jones?
Thank you, Mayor Curtis. I really don't think it was the caliber of candidates. It was a lot of candidates that we received I thought were great candidates, but those candidates were still working at other jobs. So how do we, if you read the resumes, they'll tell you that it's said on there from a date to a date was till present. And present means that they're still working.
Yeah.
So I think that was more of the issue to me this time than the caliber, meaning the quality of candidate, because there were some quality candidates, but some of them were still working. And a couple of those that we asked, for an interview, I think because they were still working, they decided not to interview for one reason or another. But they were still, most of those, the caliber of candidates that I saw that would have been great for our department were still working.
Well, unfortunately, Ms. Jones, most of the candidates that apply for a job currently have a job, especially in today's market. So I don't know whether it was what happened in the interview. The only people I reached out to see if they are interested were the ones that were out of area, and I let them know that we do not pay relocation. But if you're in the area and you apply for a job, more than likely you have a job.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Any opposition to, switching strategies and advertising over the 15 days at, I guess, a second tier for candidates? All right, Ms. Schultz.
Okay, thank you. I'll put the job back out tomorrow.
Okay.
Point of order.
Yes,
I thought it was,
Councilwoman.
I'm not sure, but I thought Mr. Gardner said that we should put the job back out like the end of August.
You're correct. And the reason being, not a lot of people, and you're correct, I forgot that. The reason being, a lot of people really don't look for a job during summer months. That's just across the board. And this way, we'll get time to look at the vacancy again. Maybe you may want to tweak it a little bit. So you all are correct. So we'll put it out at the dates Mr. Gardner initially said.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I think that is on the other items except for one other item that will tie into no. We'll go to the budget and save the other item for last, because I think that might be a closed session. All right. So last week we went through most of the budget, well, all of the budget, and we are still at a crossroads on salary. So Mr. Stewart provided a matrix on salary after Councilman Herring saw that there were some salaries that were not on the scale. And so Mr. Stewart developed this matrix. He emailed it out to council, I believe, on Thursday night. I believe Ms. Schultz emailed the scale. Boy. We should all have a scale, I believe. And so now just want to open it to discussion as relates to salaries. I don't have my questions, but I want to defer to first Councilman Herring because he was the first one to identify the number of salaries that were not on the scale. So wanted to open the floor to council and first Councilman Herring.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mayor. I looked at this and I have a problem with this schedule also. When I did my spreadsheet, I went back to 2023 when the original salary scale was approved and dropped those numbers in there, and then moved forward from there and showed what the salary be at each on the scale at each step for the various positions. Now like I'm noticing like on the spreadsheet that we got for Mr. Stewart, like the executive assistant. I'm not sure what's going on here. Okay, it says that, well, is this a grade 9, step 14 in 2024, then the same thing in 2025, same thing in 2026, and then it's a grade 9 and they jump up 2 steps in 2027. But when I look at the approved budget, the position started at a 16, and on here it has it starting at a 14. So I'm not sure why it's starting 2 steps lower than what was approved in 2023. And then it has it at a step 17. I mean, and it should be at a step 17, but yet it goes down in 2027 to 16. I'm not understanding what's going on with that. And it's like that all the way across a lot of these media communications. It starts at grade 6, step 10, then it goes to a grade 6, step 15, then a grade 7, step 13, then a grade 7, step 16. And I'm not sure what's going on. I honestly don't know what's going on. And the original approved starting step was 12. So they started at a 10. Her approved was 12, but they have on here in 2024 is 10. And I really, honestly, I can't make heads or tails out of this. I mean, these steps are off. Every beginning step is off by 1 year. I mean, by 1 step. And they end and also like with the director of code enforcement. Now it's putting him at moving him to from a grade 7 to a grade 10, but we have no grade 10. Grade 10 is reserved. So we have not, that has not even been populated with any salary or anything. So we can't even move them there until we do what we have to do to populate that grade. There's nothing there. So we can't legally put them into a position and give them an $81,000 salary because there is no $81,000 salary there in a 10. That's a reserved spot. Code enforcement officers, same thing with this one. Code enforcement officer, the first one starting at a step 4. Her original step in 2023 was a step 1. And the other code enforcement officer, her step is, she started correctly. And she's actually on scale. Same with finance, staff accountant. He has 2024, has her at a step 10. Then she jumps up to a step 14 by 2027. But she should only be at a step 13 by 2027. And same thing with the assistant staff accountant. He has her ending at a step 10, when she should really just be she started at a step 4, and she should end at a step 7. So I'm not sure and this like this through the whole thing. Public Works, same thing. All of them are ending at a step above what they should be ending at. So I mean, I have a problem with this whole thing. This is why I honestly believe with something like this, we need to be sitting around the table so we can see all the source document that he used to pull this together, and we can look at it and we can see originally where we were at in 2023, what he's using for his numbers, and then we can understand where we're going from here. Because right now you really can't tell because these numbers on the spreadsheet, and we don't have a source document that he used to pull this together. So I'm not comfortable with this sheet at all because it's not starting with where it was approved in the budget. Now these are approved budget. The steps I got are approved budget numbers in the 2023, 2024, 2025, and 2026 budget. So yeah, I'm not understanding what's going on. It's just I mean, I honestly believe if we're going to sit here and do this and go over this, we really need to be sitting around the table with the paperwork in front of us, not online. I thought it was going to be something simple, but obviously it's not. So I can see what's being used. Because if he has the pay scale here, 2023, that is not the numbers that he have here are not what's in is not what was in the original pay scale of 2023, and I have that, and I have the approved one, and the numbers are the beginning steps are off by one, so and some of the grades are off too. So that's my issue. I don't feel comfortable with this. It's off. The numbers are off. And I also don't feel comfortable giving everybody a 4% increase. I have a major problem with that. When we just got finished raising taxes on these citizens to keep people in their jobs, we had over a $600,000 deficit. We raised taxes to bring in over $500,000, and we had to pull money from the savings to close that budget deficit. And now we're getting ready to take salaries up again, 4%. I mean, 1.5% higher than what we actually are budgeting. And I just don't think it's fair to the citizens. I think that, if I hadn't caught this, then 20 people would have got nice increases and the other 20 would have gotten the 2.5% cost of living adjustment. And so now we want to take everybody up to 4% because we're giving some people more than what they should be getting. My thing is you need to roll them back to what they should be getting versus taking everybody up to 4%. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gardner?
No, thanks, Mayor. I'll make a couple comments and then hoping Mr. Stewart can provide some additional information. I just wanted to note that for a couple of the positions, like the executive assistant, I think the changes in the salary numbers and the step and grades are related to a change in who actually occupied that position. And sometimes we have funds budgeted for a position, and the person who ends up being hired to take that job may be hired at a lower grade and step or lower step than the previous person occupying the position. And I believe that was the situation with the executive assistant. And then also sometimes the person that comes in is being hired at a higher step and grade, and perhaps Ms. Schultz can address that. I understand that with one of the other employees who was mentioned, the employee was promoted a couple times, and that's why the step and grades jumped. Regarding the proposed salary for the Director of Code Enforcement, it is correct that if the Director of Code Enforcement position is approved, and I know that staff has put together a position description for it, I believe that was either at the request of a prior city manager or after discussion with council. But that position, correctly, as you indicated, has not been approved. And so I think it's possible to put a budget number in and to have a separate discussion if council does wish, in fact, does want to create that position, then the person would be put at that grade and step. I had sent an email this evening, shortly before the meeting, and I don't know if council members had an opportunity to see it, but it's a challenge for all of us to try to go back 2 or 3 years and put folks on a pay scale that unfortunately the city didn't use. And I don't want to get into back and forth about how staff proceeded or whether or not some of the promotions followed all of the procedures. I think at this point we should start with where we are. And if council wishes to do a different percent pay increase, I know staff can calculate what that would look like and put that out for discussion. But I don't think we will be able to go through every position, every vacancy, every new hire, every promotion starting in 2024 and come up with the salary that everybody is going to agree on for each position. And with that, I'd just like to ask to see if Mr. Stewart or Ms. Schultz can add to the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Herring, I see you unmuted yourself. Do you have any comments?
Yeah, I do, because again, it really bothers me when I hear that, because again, the spreadsheet I sent did just that. It took the final salary that they made in 2026 and took that into consideration. I didn't take it down or anything else. I just looked at where they were going in 2027 based on the approved salary scale and made the adjustment as such. And I had put notes in there that, okay, this person shouldn't get anything until 2028, or this position should get 1.5% versus the 10%, and that will put them back on scale. So it has been done because 50% of the people are already on scale. So, and 50% of the people aren't. So I feel that it needs to be modified to put them on scale based on their 2026 salary, which most of them are over the amount. And my spreadsheet goes from 23 to 27. And I put the scale, I put what was approved in the budget. So again, if you look at my spreadsheet, I guess I know I looked at it, starting in 2023, everybody was on scale. Everybody was on scale. I tied that back to what the approved scale was with the approved budget. So everybody was on scale. And they messed it up when they started changing the scale without council approval. And that's where the problem lies in that. So my thing is, to fix it, you need to make the adjustments that I have in 2027 on my spreadsheet in order to get them to where they need to be on scale. And then moving forward, we will be on scale. But to sit there and just say, okay, everybody's off scale, so we're going to take everybody up 4%, even those who are on scale now, and my thing is this: why are these people off scale? Are these people their favorites, or are these favorite or chosen people, or what? That 50% of the people are off scale, and then you got 50% of the other people are on scale. So how did some get off scale, and then others got salary increases all across the board? And I understand increases in promotions, but and even with the Director of Public Works, what is the justification? Have y'all done the comp factors? And I'm asking that again. Have y'all done the comp factors to justify taking him up to the level that he's taking? I don't mind if we got to take him up. If you did everything you need to do in accordance to in accordance to the salary scale that we approved, and that's going over the comp factors, seeing where he scores, seeing if he scores in the 200 range to get the grade 10. Has all of that been done? And if it has been, I would like to know what the justification is. What y'all doing is y'all picking salaries and y'all just throwing numbers out there. And so somebody else who's on the scale is going to be like, well, I had to, these are my comp factors, and this is what I had to, this is what I was weighted on to get this salary. And, is this comp factors comparable to this other person's comp factors? I'm just thinking we need to be fair across the board and do everything like we're supposed to do. Everybody talk about doing things in decency and order. We need to do things in decency and order, and justifications need to be had. That's why I'm really getting kind of tired of is that y'all throwing stuff out here and there's no justifications. Like I said, this spreadsheet that we got from Mr. Stewart, it starts in 2024. You know, why couldn't we start in 2023 to see who was on scale at that point? And if you would have did that, you would have saw everybody was on scale at that point. Because or everybody that I went through, everybody was on scale at that point. Because that's when we voted on the ordinance to approve that scale. So no, I mean it isn't hard to do. I did it, and you got the spreadsheet to show that you can put everybody back on scale in one way or the other. So I'm just like, it seems like everybody want to push out these increases in these raises, but don't forget, again, everybody talking about all the money, all the money, all the money we got. You know, you got to remember, we still building the building. We had to close a budget deficit of over $600,000, which I've never seen in the city of Glenarden. You know, with a tax increase on the citizens. You know, and so we're going to have to eventually bite the bullet. We don't know what the economy is going to do or anything else. We got to be cautious when we're moving forward with this. And that's why we had the salary scale done the way it was done, because that's what the gentleman said. Your budget can bear a 2.5% increase. You can give more if you have better years, but right now it's a 2.5% step increase, which he considered was a cost of living adjustment. That's why he factored it in there so that we can know where we're going with our budget and we can better budget ourselves. So, all right, Mayor, thanks.
Thank you. I, in a couple ways, well, let me just say this. I think this is important enough to do correctly. I agree with Councilman Herring that it is something that I would want to just push through. We don't have 500 employees. Um, we should be able to get the data and turn it around fairly quickly, actually. This is all a part of the budget process, right? Um, that's why we take our time, we analyze the budget. You know, it's formulated at the, department level up to the overall level. Then it's, reviewed, checked, people talk to the department heads. This is why we have you know, a process for budgeting. It's not just for us just to say, oh, well, we are where we are, so let's just move forward. Um, I do think that we do have some uh, fundamental things that we have to all be on the same page about. I think that over the years, we have confused COLA with merit increases. Um, and I am in agreement that a COLA increase is different from a merit increase. And if there is an approved COLA increase, that does in fact change the entire scale because it's a cost of living adjustment across all of the positions because the cost of living is increased, so the market rate for that position also increase based on if the council approved it or not. I think there's been some confusion on whether council has approved it or not. I think council has approved, pay increases for staff, but not necessarily a traditional COLA increase. And so and that's something that has to be analyzed annually, it could be that this year we do not have a COLA increase because, inflation's not that bad or, we are where we are and the scale remains the same. I think it should be analyzed on an annual basis. However, it doesn't have to increase on an annual basis. I also agree with Councilman Herring that it's highly unlikely that everybody get across the board 4% increase. Merit increases are based on your performance. Not just that you did an amazing job, you have 4%, great. But what about a person who kind of struggled throughout the year? Does that person deserve the same merit increase that that a stellar performer had? I don't think so. And so there needs to be time taken to and ownership from the managers to the department heads to everyone to actually evaluating your employees, your staff members to see their performance. And in a lot of cases, most people meet expectations, but it is not common that everybody exceeds expectation and everybody just get the highest increase across the board. That's just unrealistic. And so I will put it out to the council tonight to make a decision on what we're going to do. And I see Councilwoman Jones' hand, and I'll go to you next to see what we're going to do as it relates to the difference between COLA and merit increases, and the administration's understanding of that going forward. Councilwoman Jones.
Thank you, Mayor Curtis. And that was my question. You may have explained it, but I still need clarification. How do employees receive increases? Is it merit increases? Is it their department head? He puts in and tells the treasurer, okay, this year I want to increase this person's salary from this to this. How is it? What is the criteria for employees to receive raises? Thank you.
Mr. Stewart or Mr.
Hello.
Gardner? Do you defer to Mr. Stewart? I know you've just been here for, okay, Mr.
Yes.
Stewart.
So yes. So good evening, everyone. So the increases are, I think, in three phases. You have the step increase, you have COLA increase, and you have merit increase. Merit increases are normally issued to employees who have done well, and we're actually doing that through bonuses. But then you have the step increases. Step increases are, you would say, automatic increases every year, and that's at the 2.5. Then you have the COLA. COLA now takes into consideration the scale of on a whole, and it increases the scale according to the COLA changes. As you can see in 2025 and 26, there were COLA increases, and those increased the scale on a whole. In 2024, the scale was agreeable to what was done, and Mr. Herring says in 2023, and that's when that scale was approved. That scale is equal to what we have in 2024. So if you go through 2024, it's agreeing with the scale that we have here that says 2023. Come 24 and 25, they were COLA increases. Those COLA increases increase the scale in total. So it moves everyone up by 3%. The next year, there was another 3% in 2026. In 2027, we were asked to put back everyone on the 2023 scale, right? So what we actually did is find for 2026, those individual numbers that are on the 2023 scale. Then we gave everyone the step increase because it was our understanding that we just need to put back everyone on scale and then give them a step increase. Those two added to give everyone like a 4.04% or 4.05% increase, which we understand, right? But that's the meat of what happened here.
Okay, let me ask another question then concerning COLA. COLA is, when I was working for a company or wherever, or where people work, COLA was cost of living adjustment. COLA, regardless of what your performance was, everybody got COLA because that was a cost of living adjustment. It had nothing to do with your performance. It had nothing, it was a percentage that employers came up with based on the economy, based on the cost of living, what we were going through. So we cannot take COLA and say this is a raise for employees. Is that what I'm hearing? Because COLA, like I said, regardless of whether your performance is good or bad, everybody got a cost of living adjustment because that was what the federal government came up with to help people in economies that were not thriving.
And that is correct. That is how we deal with the COLA as it relates to the cost price index, and we look at other areas where we determine whether or not the cost of living has gone up. For
And you're
those
saying the
3 years,
council approved the 3% COLA?
in 2025 and in 2026, they were approved while
Okay.
we were doing the budget. They were approved. That's the only reason why they were in the budget.
Okay.
And
All
they
right.
were on scale.
Thank you. All right. So I have 4 people, 3 people that I'm gonna go to. I see Councilman Williams, and then I saw Councilman Herring unmute himself, and then I saw Mayor Pro Tem Ferguson. So I'm going to Councilman Williams first.
Okay, thank you, man. This is addressed to the city manager and the treasurer. I just heard you said it was 3 things: merit increase, step increase, and cost of living. Correct? This is to the treasurer.
Okay, yes. So there is the cost of living, there's a step increase. But what we have discussed over the years is where merit is concerned.
Mr. Stewart, can you just answer?
Yes.
You can follow up later, but
Yes.
he
Yes.
asked your question, and you can just respond and let him finish. Thank you.
All right, so those are the 3 things. Thank you, man. So, in my years, in my employment with federal, state, and local governments, I've been in and private entities. It's only 2, not 3, because the merit increase is a step increase. And a step increase is not guaranteed unless you have emeritus to do so. Just because a year passed, one is not guaranteed to move to the next step. And I think if that is what we have been doing, because if that what we've been doing is wrong, you get a step increase if you want a meritorious service. And then the cost of living, again, is what Councilwoman Jones said, COLA across the board. Everyone gets that, whether you're good or bad employee. But it's no 3 things. It's either a merit increase, which is the built-in 2.5, or it's a COLA. And so I'm afraid to ask this question, but I got to ask this question. In your eyes, what's the difference between a step increase and a merit increase?
A merit increase take into consideration the evaluation that an individual staff has gotten. It's based on the level of their performance during the year.
Okay.
The step is really considered at the end of the year, whether we're going to give someone an increase based on merit or not. It's just a general increase for the next year. It does not have, in most cases, people do get increases, but some companies do not give increases.
All right. Okay.
Can I add something quickly?
All right. So what you just said is somewhat contradictory, Mr. Dean, because a merit increase means based on evaluation, you get your step. If you're not doing well, you don't get your step. But what I'm hearing you're saying that a person in this government can get a meritorious and a step and a cost of living in 1 year. And that's not how it's supposed to be.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I'd like Ms. Schultz to chime in here. I believe my understanding is that the city council has not approved annual step increases for employees. And the city council has, I believe, usually approved some type of bonus that was often given in December. And it was I believe, done either as a percentage of salary or a flat amount. And that may be the merit that Mr. Stewart mentioned. I do
No,
not believe that staff got 3 types of increases annually.
okay. Thank you, Mr. Gardner. Ms.
Well,
Schultz. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. One second. One second. Councilman Williams first.
yeah, I have the floor, please. Thank you. So, this needs some clarity because if what you're saying, Mr. Gardner, is true, then that's why we're off the scale. That is exactly why we're off the scale. Because meritorious, we haven't. You saying you haven't been getting steps, but y'all been getting meritorious based bonuses based on a percentage of the salary. So that's right there, and that's my gap analysis that I just did. Because there's no way that you can even give if you gave meritorious bonus and it was more than 2.5, then it's off the scale.
No.
If you gave a step, which was 2.5, that should have been the meritorious bonus, unless it's otherwise approved.
And I'm sorry, I should clarify that the bonus did not change the salary at all. It was a one-time amount. It did not impact the step, grade, pay plan, nothing. But I'm talking too much here. I want to let others.
Okay.
One second. One second.
Order.
Council, I just
Don
want
Juan
to say,
has Councilman Don Juan Williams has the floor. So if he's
yeah,
not
and
finished,
this is my last thing. I just want to say my colleague, and then I'm done with this whole. Sorry, you won't hear me say any more about it unless you have a vote. Here's the thing: if we want it to be to a certain scale, then if the current people who are in the positions can't do it, okay, just find somebody who can do it and help and give them the assistance to do what you want. But we don't have to set what you don't want. Just find somebody who can assist you to get what you want, Mr. Mayor, what you said. But you got to take a look at this meritorious bonuses and stuff like that. If you're going to, we have built in the scale 2.5. And if a employee is doing their job satisfactory or above, then that step is their meritorious. Then a cost of living. But this meritorious step and cost of living, something's wrong with that picture. I thank you for your time. Bye.
thank you. Ms. Schultz, did you have anything to add before I move on?
Yes. Since I have been here, 2019, we have never received a meritorious award, an award based on performance to increase our salaries. That has always been one of the biggest discussions, especially with the police department, as well as with other employees. In 2025, we got a bonus at the end of the year based on our performance. Actually, what happened is, Mayor Curtis, you got everybody's rating, and based on that, bonuses were distributed. In 26, we got a bonus based on what the ratings were. What we got in 25 and 26 was a COLA. And that's the only thing that I know we have gotten. We have never gotten any other kind of meritorious to change our scale. A COLA will change the scale, and that's what we've got in the past. Right or wrong, that's what we have got. I was going to say something else. When you're looking at, and I'll go back to the example that Mr. Herring used, the executive assistant. When the executive assistant was hired, up until this last one, we were using whatever scale we were using at that point. This year, when we hired the executive assistant, we used the 23 pay scale. And it was determined that they were going to use a particular range. And that's why the salary is what it is. But getting back to the bonuses versus the merit versus the salary increases, we have never received a bonus, a merit increase based on our performance.
Okay. So I'm going to ask. Thank you, Ms. Schultz. I don't want this to sound harsh or funny, but I'm going to ask that in these public meetings that we refer to council members as council member and not Mr. or Mrs. To properly address an official. You know, just if we can do that, please. Councilman Herring.
I'll let Mayor Pro Tem Ferguson go first.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Ferguson.
Thank you for yielding, Councilman Herring. I would just like to say, the 3 steps that were mentioned by Mr. Stewart, I've never actually heard of myself. Me having been retired from the federal government have worked for 47 years, and have been management and have gave evaluations and performances and things like that. I concur with Councilman Williams. It really is pretty much 2. I've never heard of anyone getting an automatic step every year, and I really want to know who authorized that and how long that's been going on, and who even said that was supposed to be happening in the city of Glenarden. Now there is a cost of living raise that, and even with that, there were times in my 47 years that we did not get a cost of living raise. You don't always get one. I mean, majority of the time, I would say 98% of the time I did get one, but whether it was, and then sometimes it wasn't, you might get 1%, you might get 1.5, 2.5, but just assuming that you're getting 3% every year, 4%, that wasn't the case in the federal government. And even with that, the cost of living raise was not decided by employees. I mean, it was decided by, the president, at a top level. Merit, to me, and performance is basically the same thing. Now, there were times when I got a step increase, which was the same as a step increase. And depending on, what I did, I might have got a step increase and a couple of thousand as well. And a lot of times I would just get a cash reward. But you're not getting a cost of living, a performance bonus, and a step. So sometimes I've even had the option to say, well, do you want, $2,500 or do you want, 2%? I said, just give me the 2%, whatever. Or sometimes I got both. But 3 ways of getting compensated for, just automatic, that step, that's not, I've never heard of that in my life. And I really don't approve of that. Because if everybody's getting a step automatically, just because it's a new year, and they're not, performing, to me, a step is earned. So, and again, like I said, cost of living does not have to always be 3% or 4%, or, you can, I guess you can put it in the budget, but an employee of a government does not decide what it's going to be. It's just automatically they're getting 3%. They might get 3.5, they might get 2.5, but again, I can clearly see also why things are off, especially if you're just getting automatic steps, and I mean, I can see why things may be off. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Harry.
Okay, I mean, I will yield to Councilwoman Jones.
Councilwoman Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilman Herring. I agree with Councilwoman Ferguson. I don't want to allude to the fact, like she said, the COLA was determined by the federal government, and it sent down every year what the COLA was going to be, the percentages, what it was going to be. If there was no cost of living adjustment, then we didn't get anything. But if there was any cost of living adjustments working for the company that I work for, everybody got a cost of living adjustment. If you look up merit, if you Google merit, you'll see that merit and step are really, like she says, the same thing. Merit increase is based on performance. The bonuses that the city gave last Christmas were in an uproar. It went to the attorney. The attorney said that our best bet with the bonuses which was fine, but we need to come up with a platform, a criteria for how we're going to give bonuses, and that was supposed to have been decided by the city manager. I will send that email to Mr. Gardner. He can read over it. He can check with Mr. Kopinski again concerning that. But any bonuses, we were supposed to come up with a criteria on how bonuses was supposed to be given out, and it shouldn't have been done by the council. Thank you, Mayor Curtis.
Thank you. Are you ready, Councilman Harry?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Let me just say, when we had this salary scale done, even though we're trying to mimic the federal government, we're not the federal government. And so when I talked to the gentleman on the phone, and he was like, because I was asking him about the 2.5, he's like, well, what I'm going to do, they said that y'all want to give cost of living adjustments. I'm going to factor in these 2.5% cost of living adjustments so that you can have a better idea on how to budget each year. And he's like, and if you want to do merit and increase and do merit for somebody, then you have to adjust it for that if you're doing merits. But and when I look up the online from federal government about steps, I mean, it basically says that you got a step if you maintain an acceptable level of performance. So you would get your step. If you did your job, you got your step. And I think it was just an easy way for us to be able to track our budget and follow our budget. Now, that's what they've been doing. We've never, like Ms. Schultz, we've never given merit. I'm going to tell you honestly, I don't know many department heads that have come and asked for a merit increase for their employees. None. I don't think, since I've been here, I think maybe one, maybe two, but I've never seen them ask for merit. They got an increase when they got a promotion. That's about it. But again, my thing is, when it comes down to this, then this situation is that 50% of the people are on scale and 50% are off. And that's where the problem is coming in. So people were getting a 2.5% increase over the years. And these, the ones I sent on my spreadsheet were getting a little bit more. Some were getting more, some were getting less. And then again, some of these positions are off scale based on this spreadsheet. Their steps are off. Because again, we never, like I said, again, we've never given them merit. We've always given cost of living adjustments. That's what we call them, and that's what will be in. And if you read the budget and read the narratives from the budget, we're giving a cost of living adjustment of this, or we're giving a cost of living adjustment of that. There's never been merit. Everything we've given has always been cost of living adjustments. And that's why that's why the gentleman factored in at 2.5%, because if that was the case, he wouldn't have put the 2.5% in there. He would have just did a scale and said, go from there. But he wanted to show if you were trying to give a cost of living adjustment, then you can use this scale to do so. Because again, we are not the federal government. I mean, and looking at the federal government, it's, you had to work a certain number of years. You stayed in a certain step for a certain number of years. So your first year, you could only go so many steps or whatever, again, I mean, but it's that's what I'm saying. This is completely messed up, and I think this is where we really need to sit around the table and look and see all the source document that's being used, because numbers are being thrown out. Stuff is on this schedule that I'm not sure where they're getting it from, and I'm not sure why they're starting where they're starting, and I'm not sure why we ending where we're ending when it comes down to these steps. So yeah, I think it just needs to be looked at much more closer than what we're doing here online. I mean, we need to really be in a room with the paperwork in front of us and somebody there to explain to us what you're doing and why you're doing it and where you're pulling these numbers from and what piece of paper are you using? You know, are you using what we approved, or are you using what you think you approved? Because again, if Bev went in and modified the salary scale, we did not approve it. And that's another thing. She should have brought that to us to say, okay, I modified it. You know, I took everything up 3% because I did a 3% cost of living adjustment. That should have came to us to be modified because we passed it by law. And so you can't change it just because you want to go and change it and call somebody up to change it. Or whoever called up and got it changed. And I know Bev wasn't here one year when I did it, so I know it wasn't her. But you know, but I think we just need to look at this much more closely before we even move forward with this and make sure everything is in its right place and set down the criteria of what we actually are going to do, what we're going to follow, how we're going to do this. All right, thanks.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Gardner.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. I just want to be really clear that to the best of my knowledge from talking to staff, employees have never received both a COLA and a step. Neither have ever been automatic, and neither has the bonus that council has authorized occasionally in December. So I heard a couple of council members talk about an automatic step increase. That has not been the city's practice. And in fact, any increase to staff salaries, I think outside of promotions, probably have always come to council for approval. And the practice seems to be a COLA and not a COLA and a step. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart.
And I just want to bring back some discussion we had a couple of years ago as it relates to merit increase. I can remember a discussion that we were having where council members were in agreement that we would consider the merit increase as a bonus just to ensure that we keep salaries where it was. The idea was to not cause a cumulative effect on salaries based on, or on positions based on the meritorious work of an individual. So the idea is to keep salaries constant based on either the COLA or the step, but where there are individual meritorious increases, we would not do that, but instead provide a bonus. So that's what I can remember a couple of years ago. That was the discussion. That's what we had applied and have been using.
Mayor?
Yes, Councilman Herring.
So are you saying that we said that we are equating the bonus to a merit increase? Mr. Stewart?
The bonus was an attempt to ensure that we do not move the salary of that position, but to award the individual in that position who has done well with a bonus, instead of increasing their salaries. And that was the discussion.
I just want to be clear, because I think you said that the council said that they would give a bonus as a merit increase. I think that's what you said. And I just want to clear that up.
Yes,
The
instead
council
of.
did not, the councils did not say they're giving a bonus as a merit increase. The council said we will give you a bonus in lieu of a merit increase. We never equated that as a merit increase. We said it was a bonus because, like you said, we were trying to keep the salaries where they were, versus giving a merit. So we did not say we're going to give it in lieu. I mean, we gave a bonus in lieu of a merit increase. We didn't give it a bonus as a merit increase because we never approved a merit increase. As Ms. Schultz said, we've never approved a merit increase because no one's ever brought a merit increase that I know of to the council. That's the department head's thing they need to do. They need to bring that up and see if they want to bring a merit increase, but nobody's ever brought that to us. So what we do what we got. We do what we can. A cost of living adjustment to give you something, but anything over and above that is based on the department head, based on the evaluation, which we don't give, the department head give. So I just want to clear it up because the council did not say we were given a bonus as a merit increase. We said we gave a bonus in lieu of a merit increase. So I just wanted that cleared up. All right, thank you, Mayor.
In those words, yes, I agree.
Okay, so now it's just how do we move forward? I agree that this is a little bit everywhere. Actually, I stopped sharing, but to go back, here it is. I just did percentages of increase. And so I can see that, yep, in this year there's a 3% increase. In the next year there's a 3% increase, but these two people got 6, this got 6, this got 8, this got 9. I'm pretty sure, I mean, you guys may have stories related to this, which is fine, but there needs to be a note as to why, well, it, at this point, it's a moot point because I think the whole thing needs to be looked at. But as it relates to how do we move forward, um, I think we need to, as I said before, make it clear what we are moving forward with as it relates to COLA versus merit versus Dean, you talked about bonuses. Um, yeah, so now we're at a crossroads where we have a bunch of salaries in here. When I say in here, a bunch of salaries in the budget, where there's uncertainty as to where all of them should be on the scale. Um, Now, if administration and Dean said that you guys can turn this around rather quickly, then great. You can figure out where we should be on the scale, and if we did do a COLA increase in 2025, then yeah, the entire pay scale will go up, but you know, we will have to approve that. Um, and so I'm thinking of a couple options. Um, One is we just take our time and get it right, which means that we're not going to be able to pass this budget by July the 1st. Two, another option is that in 2027, in lieu of pay increases, that we increase the bonus pool to be about 3%, and have uh, a merit, not a merit increase, I'm sorry, a bonus based on performance that is um, uh, developed, explained to council what it is, and trusting managers and directors to honestly, you know, evaluate on the scales that are approved for the city. And that way we can just put an amount in the budget and roll back the salaries to 2026, and therefore give the administration time to look at the entire scale, the entire salary package, and prepare for 2028 for it to move forward in the correct way. That was one, stay where we are and just be late on the budget. Two was have a bonus pool and roll everything back to 2026. And three is just, just keep on hammering out through July and just pass the budget, you know, late. I think that might be the same as one, but those are my ideas of how we can move forward because I don't want to necessarily hang up or slow up the entire budget for this, but also understanding that salaries is important because I view staff as important. And also wanting the administration to understand as well where the council is coming from, uh, because you know at least I think I can speak for everybody. We want to make sure that you guys are managing well the resources that we have, and when I say resources, I mean staff. And by that I mean evaluating them honestly. Everybody deserves to know whether they're doing well or whether they're underperforming or whether they're meeting expectations. And based on that, they deserve, if they're not meeting expectations, how can they meet expectations and be a better performer? If they're meeting expectations, then we owe them, okay, well, how they can be a stellar performer. And if they're a stellar performer, oh, then we should be, tell them how they can move to the next level. But there has to be some type of honest evaluation. There can't just be a blanket, everybody's just doing phenomenal. That's just cheating our staff members in their careers, I think. So I know that was a lot, but I just want to throw out options of how we move forward as opposed to just, everybody taking a turn kicking the ball of where we're, you know, not on the scale or not right. Any other, before I go to Mr. Gardner, any other ideas on how we can move
Yeah,
forward? Yeah, Councilman Harris.
yeah. Um, I hear what you're saying, and I think I'm kind of in line with that. If we want to do that, set aside a pool of money for if we're gonna call it a cost of living adjustment, set it aside until we can, at whatever level we're looking at. I don't know if we're looking at 3% and label it as cost of living adjustment, and it'll just be whatever it is. Whatever the amount would be based on all the total salaries at 3% or 3.5% or whatever we're thinking about giving, setting that to the side and as a budget line item, and then we can distribute it once we figure out what we're actually going to do and where we need to be with the salaries. And like you said, just freeze this 2026 salaries where they are until we can clean this up. Then we can distribute the money. That way we can retro it back to July 1st if need be. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We can look at that. That's the only thing I can think of.
Okay. Before I make a motion, I just want to hear everybody's ideas. Councilwoman Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. If I'm not mistaken, cost of living is required by the federal government. That's going to come. I had to look that up. Isn't that required by the federal government that we have to give a cost of living, whatever the percentage is that they release every year?
No, every organization has autonomy on what they pay to their employees. So if they want to give a cost of living adjustment, they can. If they do not, they do not have to. And we do not have to.
Okay. But the only other thing that I would is that we would move forward with this like it's something that really needs to be done because we need to have a balanced budget. And the other thing is make sure that whatever we do is there is a clarification of merit, of COLA, of STEP. Which one are we going to do? And make sure that the administration knows this is what we've all come to agreement, and this is what we all understand what it is, what we mean by merit, what we mean by STEP, what we mean by COLA. Thank you.
Thank you. Um, okay, Mr. Garden, I'll go to you and then I'll make a motion if does it relate to what we're talking about?
Yes, Mayor, I was going to respond to your question about steps to go forward, and I appreciate trying to find a path forward. And I kind of want to pose this to Ms. Schultz and Mr. Stewart, who have worked on the plans a lot more for a lot longer than I have. But if it seems that there is an understanding that generally COLAs are applied to the scale as a whole, then it might be the cleanest and easiest to keep everybody on the scale that was approved last year's budget. So the current salaries that people have. And if council wishes to authorize merit based on uh, staff evaluation above a certain level, that could be one way that would provide some certainty and a bump for high performers. It would be a little more certain and clear than having a bonus pool to be decided. But there are a couple options here where I think it would be relatively clear to staff on what they would make and why they're making it, and would allow council to move forward fairly quickly and easily. But I'd maybe ask Karen, Ms. Schultz and Mr. Stewart in terms of the complexity of using our FY26 scale and having people where they are, and then perhaps authorizing a step if they are high performers. Thank you.
May I say something right quick
Yes,
before she answers? We didn't approve of FY26 scale. The only scale we approved by ordinance was FY23. I don't know why they keep on throwing out these 25, 26 scales. Only scale that this council approved was FY23. That's it. There's nothing has come before us to amend it. Nothing has come before us to change it. We approved the FY23 scale. That's it. So I'm not sure where I keep on coming up with these additional scales.
Councilman,
thanks.
I think that they are referencing since the council approved a COLA in 2025, then by approving the COLA, then we've also approved the scale for 2025. I think that's
No.
what they're referencing. Am I correct, Mr. Gardner, Mr. Stewart?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
sir.
my understanding, that the COLA that was approved was applied to the scale for each of those years, which is, I think, as some others have discussed, what is normally done with the COLA.
No, because I remember 2025, I distinctly told them not to put that scale on there because I said you should be going right to the 2023 scale. So if they applied it, they shouldn't have, because I mean, I remember, I had to pull the minutes, pull the video, because I remember speaking on that. Because I said, what are y'all doing? This does not match the scale that we had in 2023. So I'm not sure what's going. See, this is my problem with this, is that a lot of stuff gets stuck in here, and people are sticking stuff in these budgets and stuff, thinking they're gonna get away. This is not the first time. This is like the third time this has happened, with y'all saying y'all stuck this in the budget and y'all assuming this is in the budget, and no one's coming to the council and saying this is what we're doing. No one's coming to the council and saying this is what we're doing. You're just doing it on your own without any council approval. I'm telling you, that's a problem for me. And that's a problem for me when they have a person at the level that some of the people are, that's not keeping us informed on what's going on. And that's a major problem for me. All right, thanks.
Okay. Mr. Stewart?
And so, as it relates to the increase, the COLA increases per scale, it was of my opinion that the council had agreed to those COLA increases, which increase the scale. It has happened for the last 2 years. And I'm finding it very strange that I'm hearing that now those ordinances to approve the budget then was out of order.
Yeah, Mr. Stewart, I think we're just it's just overall miscommunication, which is why I proposed what I proposed, so that we could all get on the same page. I understand what you're saying, that by the council, in your opinion, by the council approving a COLA increase, that we thereby approve the whole pay scale increase for all positions and grades to go up by 3%. I understand that is where you're coming from. Not everybody thinks that. And so what I'm saying is, since there's confusion and since you know, council members have asked to actually sit down and go through these things and have the data behind it, and to make sure that we're all on the same page. It seems like that's a lot of work, and that's fine. I'm not running from the work to get where we need to be. However, I do know that we would also like to pass this budget. And so with the budget, I am proposing, I'm making a motion that we set aside 3.5% bonus pool, that cannot be touched until there is a robust evaluation process in place to evaluate staff, and that staff, this will not be a COLA, this will be a bonus, that they will be rewarded a bonus based on their rating, after an approved evaluation plan has been put in place. And that way we have an amount listed in the budget, and that we can roll back the proposed 2027 salaries to the existing 2026 salaries, and move forward with the budget process. I make a motion that we go forward with that proposal. Is
Second,
there, who said second?
Williams, Councilman
Oh,
Williams.
thank you. There's a second by Councilman Williams. Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor.
Councilwoman Cross.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I think you should separate those because one deals with a 3.5% for bonuses, which of course has been very subjective over the course of the last year with how they've been awarded. And then the other one relative to salaries. If we can make two separate motions, I would feel more comfortable because people may vote differently versus coupling everything as one. Just a suggestion. Over.
Well, I have a first and a second. If it fails, then we can divide it as you have suggested. I understand where you're coming from. Is there any other discussion?
Yeah, could you clarify that? Could you say again exactly what you're doing, what you're trying to do?
All right. So what we want to do is roll back salaries to 2026, existing 2026 salaries, and put a line item in the budget for 3.5% of total salaries for a bonus pool that can only be touched after an approved employee evaluation plan is put in place. And then employees would be given a bonus based on their rating from their approved employee evaluation. Now, I understand what the salary will stay the same, and I understand where Councilwoman Cross is coming from, but I already have a second. So if If this fails, then we can split them apart and have a vote on keeping the salaries the same and another vote on the 3.5%. But I just rolled it all in one.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Hey. Yeah. I mean, I guess so. That means that salary will stay the same for 26 and 27.
Correct. And that for top performers, once we have taken a look at the employee performance evaluation plan, then the idea is that top performers would be able to get the full 3.5%. If you didn't do so well, you would not get 3.5%.
So that means,
So,
okay.
so yeah.
All right. So I mean, everybody's gonna get 3.5% because that's usually the way it happens in Glenarden. Everybody gets a top evaluation.
Well, I'll make another motion after this that nothing can be done unless it's that the whole structure of the employee evaluation is approved by the council. Well, we come up with that second, but people may have an opinion on that. But all right, I'll just go for a voice vote. Madam Clerk, are you there? Are you still there?
Sorry.
Man,
Was you
Huh?
making a motion just now? No, you wasn't.
No,
Sorry.
I wasn't. I wasn't. I was just, understanding where Councilman Herring was coming from, that historically everybody had the same rating.
Okay.
All right. Council Clerk.
I still have,
yes.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. 1 second. Councilwoman Cross.
Yeah, can we get a dollar figure of what that 3.5% looks like? Because again, essentially that'd be money hanging around in the budget on the hope that everybody will meet their standard evaluation and be afforded that money. Otherwise, again, just for transparency of budget, remember those will be funds that's just sitting out there in the gray. Can the financial manager give us a quick number of what that looks like for the budget?
Based on the matrix that Mr. Stewart sent out, that's looks, and they can follow up with it. Looks like the total salaries for 2026 will be 3,700,000. I could share my screen. Hold on, so you can see the same thing.
And this is rolling back to the previous discussion on salaries, not the inflated salaries.
Correct. So what I just did was and again, Mr. Stewart can go back and run these numbers. This is the matrix that he provided. This is the total salaries for 2026 that's in the approved budget that's current, that we're currently operating off of. So I just did the 3.7 million times 3.5%, get the $129,598.44. That's the dollar value. The final, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And thank you for that. And what does that do to our bottom line to add almost 130,000 into the budget for hopeful bonuses?
Well, it'll be about almost a wash, because if you take what is proposed in 2027 minus what they're making in 2026, that's about $98,000. So it will move the budget $31,410.22 approximately.
Additional required, correct?
Yeah, additional.
Thanks for
But
doing that.
again, that does not, just because this money is here, does not mean that we're going to use all of these funds.
Understood. And that 31,000, Mayor, we're anticipating pulling that out of what capacity?
We have a surplus, pretty hefty surplus. So we have a hefty surplus and projected surplus in 2027. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's around 600,000 or something like that.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Williams, did you have another comment?
Yes, since we're doing discussion. Number one, if it's some of those positions are vacant, so you're gonna save money right there. So it's not gonna be a true $31,000 because some of those positions are vacant and going to be
Yeah.
vacant going into the fiscal year. So that's point one. Point two, you made a statement earlier about if you pass the budget 25, 26 and a 3%, that did happen, pardon me coming, then that is an ordinance that supersedes, that bumps up the scale that was passed by ordinance. So both of them are ordinances, and this supersedes that because it's currently that 3% is added on. But that still does not address if what Councilman Hearn is saying is true, half of the people being on scale and half of the people being off scale.
Yeah.
That still is an issue. So there is, according to the treasurer, a 25 and 26 scale based on that amends the 23 scale. But as far as personnel, it still not address half 20 people being off the scale or more, according to Councilman Hearn. So I just want to put that as a notice, but I do agree with you just articulated and ready to call for the vote.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Williams. Councilwoman Jones.
Thank you, Mayor Curtis. I was going to ask us, or pondering the same thing that Councilman Williams just brought up. When are we going to address the issue that Councilman Herring has brought forth concerning people being off the scale? I mean, when are we going to make sure so when we go into the budget for 28, we won't have the same issue? Or this issue will be cleared up.
Yeah, the goal is for them to work on it, immediately. But to give them, instead of trying to rush them to meet a deadline and then making mistakes, to take the time, go through each position, and make sure that everything is on the appropriate scale. So that is what they're going to be working on and presenting to council in future meetings. Does that answer your question?
Okay, that answers my question, but our expectation is future meetings. What do you, September, October, November, December, January, February, March?
That's a great question.
Should be done by September.
Great question. Mr. Stewart, how much time do you think you need to go over the salaries?
First of all, I definitely need to get some clarity, because are we talking about not using the 2025 and the 2026 increases that were COLA? Are we saying we are going to negate those 3% and go back to the 2.5% for those 2 years? What are we saying here?
Valid question. Put a pin in that, please, because we're getting somewhere else. So it's a valid question. I have a motion and a second on the floor, and I want to get this vote over with, and then we'll come back. And Councilwoman Jones will come back to that based on what Mr. Stewart is asking, which is a valid question, Mr.
Thank
Stewart.
you.
All right. So hold on, Ms. Schultz. I'm gonna go forward with this vote. Does it have anything to do with our vote, Ms. Schultz?
No, sir.
Okay, just then hold on, please. All right, Council Clerk, to do a voice vote on the motion that's on the floor to freeze the 2026 salaries and add a 3.5% bonus pool to the budget.
Yes. Councilwoman Cross,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Abstain.
Councilman Herring,
Yeah, no.
I'm sorry, could you
No,
repeat that?
no,
Thank you.
no,
Thank you. Councilwoman Jones,
Yes.
Councilman Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ferguson,
Abstain.
Mayor Curtis.
Yes,
Wait a minute.
I think that was four.
Yes.
What's that for? One, two, yep.
It was
That was
four,
four.
yes.
All right, so the motion passed. Okay, back to what Councilwoman Jones was saying about the scale, um, and Mr. Stewart having an understanding of where does he start from. I think this ropes into what Councilman Williams was saying about the vote by council via ordinance to give a COLA in 2025 that supersedes the 2023 pay scale. So it would go, the pay scale from 2023 across the board would add 3% to it, which will make it the the legitimate pay scale, the last approved pay scale by de facto ordinance.
Mr.
Councilman
Mayor,
Harry,
that also would be 2026. Mr. Stewart said 25 and 26.
25 and 26. What was done in 26, Mr. Stewart?
So also in 2026, there was a COLA increase. So what we're looking at, there were two increases. You had the 2025, which had a COLA of 3%, and then there was the 26, which had a COLA of 3%. So are we saying that we're going to negate those 3% increases and go back to 2.5% based on the 2023 scale?
Councilman Harry, I
No.
see you're unmuted. I have my thoughts, but I'll go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, but okay, this is where it gets tricky because again, if this pay scale already had factored in 2.5%, and they're giving people automatic steps, they're getting the adjustment right there. That's not a merit, that's a cost of living adjustment because we don't do merits. So if you're going to adjust the pay scale, you have to adjust it up to only 0.5%. So that's what you're saying. But they're going to adjust it 3%, which means there's going to be a 5.5% increase across the board based on what the pay scale is. So that's why I'm saying this is getting really confusing because, again, the whole premise of this whole pay scale, if everybody go back to when we actually talked to the gentleman who came to do it, was that he factored in the cost of living adjustment on the pay scale because he was like, you need to know where your budget is. So we'll never know what our budget is. And then that's another thing we're not looking at. We're doing this, we're going to increase this 3%, we're going to increase that 3%. But what is the effect on our budget in the future if we continue to take these, keep on modifying the pay scale? And I believe it's been modified. I honestly don't believe it has been modified. I believe what was done, the pay scale that we had, if you haven't amended it, that ordinance is there, still sitting there with no amendments to it. So I'm just saying again, and I don't. If you voted on a 3% COLA, it isn't a 3% COLA. Really, the COLA that you voted on would be a 0.5% COLA because the 2.5% is already factored into the pay scale, and so they should move to the next level based on that. But this is that. But you know what? We had a deficit already of $500,000, and if you want to have another deficit of $500,000, more power to you. You do what you want to do. I'm out of here in 2029 any old way. I just hope I don't have to pay more taxes to stay. All right, I'm done. I'm done with it. All right, thanks.
Thank you. Councilman
Mr.
Harry,
Curtis.
I understand what you're saying, and I think the mistake is calling it a COLA for 2025 and 2026. I think the correct thing that it should have been called was a merit increase, even if it was based on a faulty um, structure. It's to what you're saying, Councilman Herring, I agree. I can't increase my COLA 3% every year. That's just going to balloon the budget. So I think where we're getting off rails is that it should never have been called a COLA increase. It should have been called a merit increase, where the scale was not adjusted, but the people who we have here got a 3% increase.
Mr. Curtis. And
Yes. Yes, Mr. Stewart.
back in 2025, Municipal Solution actually contacted us. Well, I think we had contacted him as it related to a COLA increase, that COLA increase in 2025. And he had recommended then that the whole scale be moved up. And it's making me a little not understanding where Councilman Herring got his information, because that is conflicting to me now. Because we're talking about the same person telling him.
Mr. Stewart,
No,
I think,
because I don't want this to be a misunderstanding. I want to get it right.
I understand.
And he was the one who says the whole scale has to be increased if it's a COLA because the steps are not COLA. Then we are having conflicting information. And I don't want to make it, I don't want to make a mistake. I am using the information that I have, which is saying that he was the one who was increasing the scale. I was not in agreement with it then. But if we're going to give staff a 3% in 2025, a COLA, that would have put us at 5% if we're going to put back people on the scale. And that is what was being avoided while the whole scale was moved. To avoid a 5% instead of a 3%.
Understand.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Stewart. Thank you. Miss Schultz.
Yes, I just have one question. When everything is decided, going forward, can you let me know, am I still using the 2023 original scale to put new people on to advertise with, or am I going to use the 2026? That's my only question.
Honestly, I just think that we mislabeled it. It should have never been a COLA. It should have been a merit. Though I know some people say that we've never gotten merit increases. It was the form of a merit, so I'm gonna call it a merit increase because the intent was not for it to be a COLA increase where the entire scale got adjusted. The intent was to give people an increase. Um,
So are you responding to me or Dean?
I'm I, I'm just I'm just saying the obvious right here is that the obvious is the obvious is that the confusion is around whether this was a COLA or a merit increase. Yeah, I think we just need to come to the realization that we really meant merit. We did not mean COLA increase. I would not have advised us to increase our COLA by 3% by last year and this year and thereby adjusting the pay scale. What I voted for was a pay increase for our current staff and not necessarily a COLA increase. But that is the confusion for everyone. And so I think it's safe to say that it was not a COLA increase. It was just a merit increase, 3% in 2025 and 3% in 2026. I think what we need to do is go back to a 2023 pay scale and evaluate where everybody is on there and then bring to the council, hey, since 2023 to 2026, this is the inflation, this is cost of living. I think we need to adjust the pay scale by this much. The council can evaluate that based on the information, and then we can vote to give a COLA increase to increase the pay scale to where it should be today. And But I think that there's going to be a lot of work in the whole pay scale, where people should be on the pay scale, and how do we put people appropriately on that pay scale for 2028. I think that's going to be a long discussion with supporting documents and, you know, some back and forth with, council and administration.
But sir, my question was, if I were to advertise a position today,
Yep. Yep.
am I using the 2023 scale that we were advised to use back in September? That was my question.
I would say yes. Is there any opposition for using the 2023 pay scale?
Yes,
Okay.
because if what you said is if what happened prior to me coming in, if we pass a budget, if the city passed a budget with a 3% COLA for 25 and 26, then the pay scale has to be affected by the COLA. Has to be. It's passed by ordinance. Thank you.
I'll go to Councilwoman Jones and then Mr. Gardner.
Thank you, Mayor Curtis. I'm looking at these documents that Ms. Schultz sent over earlier, and they all indicate at the bottom of the page 2.5% as a step. And then one of the documents she sent has a 3% COLA above the FY 2025. Ms. Schultz, where did these documents come from? Was this from the company that we got this?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
The 2025 one has at the very top municipal solution. They're the ones that did that scale that you're looking at in 2025. Yes, ma'am. In 2026, the scale was done by Mr. Stewart.
So on one of these, for managed step increase 2.5%, and it says revised for 2025, 2026.
That one Mr. Stewart did, basically putting 3% on top of the scale that Municipal Solutions did in 25. Correct, Mr. Stewart?
Thanks for saying that. And yes, that was after being directed by Municipal Solutions as to how to do it. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Gardner?
Thank you, Mayor. So my understanding of the motion that was passed is that we are using the salary scale that was part of the FY 26 budget, and all staff salaries for FY 27 will be the same as they are for FY 26. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And then I would encourage that we continue to use the salaries that are part of the plan that was approved in FY 26 for new hires, because if we don't, we're going to have a more confusing pay scale than we need to, I think. I know there's the confusion over, was it a merit or was it a COLA? There's not an enormous difference between the two. In terms of the increase, it's kind of between 5% or 6.5%, somewhere in there. But by doing a COLA, you don't end up putting everybody higher on the plan than you otherwise have to offer competitive salaries for new staff. So I suggest we, I can make sure staff know that based on tonight's decision, salaries will be frozen at current levels, but there will be a pool that will be available for high-performing employees. We do have a current evaluation program I need to see if you feel that's not sufficient or how we go about presenting um, other kinds of evaluation programs. But going forward, I would suggest we stay on the current pay plan, and unless council wishes to provide any other change to salaries, I think I need to let staff know that um, there is not a proposed pay increase or COLA in the current budget.
Thank you. Councilman Herring.
Yeah, let me just say this, and then I'm gonna be done with. I know I said I was gonna be done with it before, but I'm gonna be done with it this time for real. The reason why we have all this confusion is because people are doing stuff and not informing this council on what they're doing. Because now they're reaching out to a contractor that we know nothing about, getting documents changed that we passed in 2023 by ordinance, having things adjusted, amended, and changed all the way around. So that's why I don't understand what's going on. So with Mr. Stewart saying he's surprised. You don't be surprised. I'm surprised because I'm hearing all of this stuff today. You know, y'all went to Municipal Solutions 2 years in a row, or went 1 year in a row, and then you changed it yourself in 2026, and nobody knew what was going on. And you're bringing us. That's why these salaries are so different. But then again, it still doesn't negate the fact that 50% of them are on scale and 50% of them are off. So I'm just saying again, that's what I'm saying. Nothing is being communicated to us. Things are being done, especially with our tax dollars and these salaries. And so how some people getting 6%, 9%, 8%, while others are getting 2.5. That's all needs to be looked at. So, all right, now I'm done with it. Thanks.
So can I respond, Mr. Mayor Curtis?
You know what, Mr. Stewart, I think we're just going around in circles.
But I didn't do that. I did not do that.
What did
We
you
were
not do?
going to pay. We were going to pay Municipal Solutions for each time he does a change to the scale. Each time he does a change to the scale, we would have to pay him. So he directed me and told me how to change the scale for 2026 because it was a COLA. So
Okay.
it's not a decision on my own to do that. It's through directions. And then he gave me how the instructions on how to change it without having him charging us again.
Thank you,
So
Mr.
that's
Stewart.
why that happened. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Councilwoman Cross.
Yes, to respond to Mr. Gardner, you did mention to let them know that they would be frozen, which I think is a good advisory, but I believe that there is a change to the second advisory regarding the bonus pool. I don't know that I would communicate that relatively yet because there is an option for that. Yes, it has passed, but there is still a need for the council to determine what those terms will be for that bonus pool. So I wouldn't advise the staff on that. You don't have the terms, but we do have the option for additional benefits for outstanding performance. That's the way I would say it, sir. Over.
Thank you.
Okay. So Councilman Williams, so I heard what you said, and I just want to be technical on this, so we can have clarity. So technically, there was never a vote to increase the COLA. There was a vote to increase salaries by 3%. Now, what they called it in the spreadsheet, I don't know. I have to go back and look. But there was never a separate vote by the council to increase the COLA by 3% in 2025 and another 3% in 2026. And somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't recall that vote ever happening. I do recall a vote happening saying that people deserve a pay increase. And so we gave 3% to current employees. And I do recall Councilman Herron saying that we're not changing the salary scale. We are changing the current employee's salary. So with that, I'm not certain that we held a vote and that it's law that the pay scale changed and was increased by 6% over 2 years. I don't see Councilman. Mr. Stewart?
Okay, so if the scale was being used for 2023 and a approval was given for the staff to get a 3%, the steps on the scale are 2.5%. That 3% would have put every staff member over the scale of 2.5%. That would put them at a 5%. And that's where we would have to put the staff if we're putting them back on scale in 2025 using the 2023 scale. If that was done, I could understand. But to avoid giving that 5%, I think they came up with the idea to say, let it be a COLA and increase the whole scale by the 3%. And I think that's where the confusion starts, especially for me.
Okay.
So
All
we
right.
need that to be clarified before I could go further with this. Thank you.
Look, I digress because I just don't want to beat, you know, just beat a dead horse. So if the council approved 3% 25 and 3% 26, fine. If the council wants to go in that direction, um, that is that is fine. So if that's the case, I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm speaking for the council. I'm only speaking for myself on where we stand on this. So, um, any additional comments before we move forward?
So just for clarification, so are we going back to 2023 or what?
Look, you know, apparently by ordinance, we approved a COLA, 3% COLA in 2 years. If that's the case, then the pay scale has increased across the board by 6% over 2 years.
I don't agree with that. Nope. I don't agree with. I agree with what you said. You know, we gave them an increase, and they wanted to call it a COLA, but no 6%. You never give anybody 6%
Over 2 years is
in two
and
years, and
tech.
then it's over 2 years, and then the salaries kick up. That's how one salary at the beginning in 2003, one grade had a salary of $101,000, and now the beginning salary is at $107,000. And if you do it, you know, it's crazy. I mean, we can't afford that. That's why we have a salary. What is the purpose of having a salary scale if you're going to be bouncing it all over the place? That makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. Yeah. All right. I'm done.
Let me say this, that with that, I'll increase this and share my screen. Share. Okay. So with that, that means we will be on this 23. I don't know what this is. 24, 25, 24, 25. This will be the 25, 26 scale. All right. So I would say with that, the council still has the autonomy of where do we, for let's say for vacant positions, um, let's say, you know, somebody lands in the grade 13, we still have discretion on where in this grade this person should be compensated, or the city will compensate. So we can still advertise anywhere on this scale. So we can advertise 72 to 78, or we can advertise 95 to 103. We don't have to pay the top amount of the scale, which is $109,000. So just because the scales increased by 6%, which Mr. Stewart, I'm assuming that this is the 6% one. It is, what's that, 69,000 and 107,000. It's it's not far off from where we were. That's about 6,000 more, about 4,000 more. Um, just taking those top two. So it's not, mm, we're not married to giving somebody a high range on that scale. We just bump the scale by ordinance over 2 years. So, all right. Any other comments? I know Councilman Herring said that he's opposed to going that route. Uh, I will say that if we did it by ordinance, it is actually law. So, Mrs. Schultz, I believe you used the 26 scale.
Okay, thank you.
So that'll be for management, non-management, because those scales are for management and non-management that you're giving.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. This is, I'll share it again. What's here says management, and the one right here is non-management. Now, for clarity purposes, I just want to be sure, Mr. Stewart, Ms. Schultz, is this the 2026 scale?
No,
Oh my God.
you gotta go
Miss-
down.
This looked like the 2026 scale.
No, that's a 2025, 26. If you go down to the next one, Dean or Mr. Stewart.
There's no next one on here.
Okay, that's it. 25, 26, that is the one we're using correctly right now. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Mayor, may I ask a question? Have those numbers been verified?
What do you mean verified?
Yeah, each scale, everything went up 3%, right? So has it been
yeah.
confirmed that all the numbers have went up 3%? Because what's going to happen down the road, we're going to go down the road later, it's going to be 4% or 3.5%.
Yep.
So I just want to make sure that the numbers are verified and that they are actually what they should be.
Yes.
Because I don't feel like doing it again.
Yes,
Please
yes, they
understand.
are.
Mr. Stewart, can you send me this in Excel? And can you also make sure that this is increased only by 6% from 2023 to 2026?
Mr. Curtis, what I can tell you is that you got to understand how this works. In 2024, this is when the pay scale that was done in 2023 was instituted, right? That's when it began to be used. The 3% increase in 2025 was based on that scale, that COLA. Come 2026, there is a compound because we're looking at taking the numbers from 2025 and adding an additional 3%. So I don't want to be that technical, but in all, and on average, it will be 6%, but 6.09%, I think it would be.
I don't get what you're saying. We started off with an approved pay scale. 1 year we had 3% across the board. Everything increased
Yes.
by 3%.
And
Then let me finish.
Mhm.
Then another year we had a 3%. Everything increases by 3%. That's 6% flat.
But it's three
And and
percent
I'll
on
and I'll remind you that when you're addressing members, the police use their title. I've already said
Mayor,
that to Ms. Schultz
Mayor
in
Curtis.
public
Yes.
meetings. Please do that. Do not call Mr. Herring Mr. Herring. He is Councilman Herring. Anybody else?
Yes, Mr. Curtis. So this is a case
Well, I just
where
said,
I said Mayor Curtis.
thank you. I'm not big on
Did I,
titles, but you know,
but did I say Mayor Curtis?
it doesn't matter. Just keep on going.
Okay. So Mayor Curtis, so this is what I'm saying. In 2024, it was instituted. So the numbers for 2025 was
Mr.
increased by
Stewart,
3%.
let's just stop. If you give me the salary, I'll do it. Give me the pay scale, I will do it. And I'll give it to you how it should be.
I'll send you those numbers
Thank you. And Excel.
in Excel. Yes.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? And
Mayor,
just
just one, because you're going to do this spreadsheet. I want to make sure you get it right. Actually, when I looked at the approved budget for 2023, those salaries tied back to the pay scale that we approved in 2023. So you may want to go back a year.
okay.
All right. Okay.
So I'll just need the original pay scale, Mr. Stewart, from 2023. And from my understanding, we've only approved two COLAs, one for 3% in 2025 and one for 3% in 2026. So there's no other changes to the pay scale. Correct?
I will forward those numbers to you in Excel.
Yeah. Okay. And for staff, you know, I will try my best always to treat you with respect. And please hear what I say. I'm not really big on titles, but when we are in these public meetings, I think that council members do deserve the respect of being called council member or mayor pro temp or mayor. If I see you in the office, you know, Mr. Stewart, you call me Mr. Curtis all the time, and I don't correct you. It's fine. But for these public meetings that are official on record, since we're doing everything supposed to be doing everything in decency and order and maintaining order, then that's the um, the quorum I want to have in these public meetings. So. And if it helps people in person, instead of calling uh, Councilwoman Jones, Mrs. Jones, then if it helps you just to call her Councilwoman Jones all the time, then by all means, call her Councilwoman Jones all the time. So, um, that is it, I believe. I don't think that I'll win this, but I want to make a motion to increase the recruitment and retention line item from 88,000 to 200,000. Is there a second? It could be quick. If it's not, then we'll move on.
Second.
Thank you, Councilwoman Jones. Uh, Now, council members, any discussion, I will start off the discussion that I previously asked for $275,000 to put in the budget for recruitment and retention measures for police officers. I think that it's needed. I just want to clarify some things. This is not, just pool that just gets thrown out to officers. No. In the same way that there has to be a robust employee evaluation plan presented, there has to be a robust retention and recruitment plan presented. Everybody doesn't get the same. If, I haven't looked at officer's performance evaluation. But if the officer isn't performing well, then that officer doesn't get anything. If an officer is performing well, based on whatever the council approves, then that officer can get something. But putting that aside, this is just putting money in the budget for a retention and recruitment opportunity funds, opportunity that can be used once a plan is in place and approved by the council. We all know that there's a shortage of police officers out there across the board, and I'm just proposing something that can help fix it. Having, just putting money aside to help fix the problem for the city of Glenarden. The new chief will have a huge say in what this is going to be. But this, like I said, just setting funds aside for this plan. Councilwoman Jones.
Thank you, Mayor Curtis. And also with this money will be coming out of the camera money that we're acquiring. Okay. And also I know they say that there's a shortage of officers, but I was looking online and I saw that Bowie just sent on June 30th, which is what, tomorrow or today? Not six, they had 7 in the picture, and 2 are cadets and the other 5 were going to the academy. So there are people out there that want to be in policing. We just have to figure out how to attract those persons to the city of Glenarden. And like I mentioned before, this is to make sure that the city is secure and taken care of, and that also our retail resources are retained and viable, because those persons with businesses, they want to be protected also. Thank you, Mayor Curtis.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Jones. That's a good point. Police presence in the city has been huge for us. Police presence at Whitmore Town Center has been huge because you see, and it deters people. And all of that I've heard from Whitmore Town Center has been great news as it relates to the Glenarden Police Department. A lot of what I've heard from our citizens are good reports from our police officers. So I will leave that there. Again, pointing out that it's just a line item in a budget. Everything that has to be drawn down from that has to be first approved by the council. Nothing gets touched until it's approved by the council. Councilman Herring?
Yeah, I just, like I said before, I don't agree with it. I really don't. I just think that, statement was just made, we need to make sure that they protect the city. I mean, if you took the salary that you took it at, I thought you took an oath to protect the city at the salary that you made. So if we don't give them this, are we not going to be protected? You keep on saying it's going to make us safer. How is it going to make us safer? It's giving them more money. So more money is going to make us safer. And how's it going to retain officers? This is not going to get us any new officers. The officers that are on staff are going to get the money. So when the new officers come on board, we probably won't have the money to give out. If you give it out to everybody else, because I'm guarantee you, everybody they're gonna get a 4.5. Guarantee you. So I don't agree with it. I just think that you want a police department, but you don't know how much it's going to cost. You got $4.5 million. I go $5.5 million saved or dedicated, and that bill will probably cost $6.5 million by the time you get around to it. And then what's going to happen then when we need more money for that? We haven't done the elevator. $1.3 million. It could have ballooned up to $1.5 million. And yes, you can. You can take $200,000 from the speed money, drop it into the police budget, and pull $200,000 out to put toward the elevator. Because the money can go toward public safety and any form of public safety. It can offset their own budget. And we can take that money that we offset that budget with and put it into the general fund to help build this elevator and help get the council chambers done. See, we're so busy spending and we're not even looking to see what we're going to have down the road. And that's what happened last time with that $500,000. And I'm going to harp on it every time because a lot of citizens really got hurt by that increase because a lot of seniors I've talked to, they didn't want to pay that increase. They're like $500,000 for what? We've kept everybody on this job because of that tax increase. They should be appreciative of that. But I'm still trying to figure out. So money is going to make us safer when I thought the commitment that they had, and I know most of the officers do, they have a commitment to the city of Glenarden because they don't have to stay here, you know? But I'm just saying, you're making it sound like that's the only thing that's going to keep us safe is that we pay them to keep us safe, you know? Because my thing is then again, you got the job at the salary that was advertised. We we never promised a lot of money. We were taking the salaries up slowly and surely, you know, to the tune of you know, like I said, to the tune of a $500,000 deficit. And now we're going to sit there and put $270,000, set it aside just to sit there, just in case we want to give a retention program. No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with it at all. I think that the citizens deserve more than that. If you want to do anything, take $200,000, take that $200,000, put it in a police budget, pull $200,000 out, and give it back to the citizens. Or roll the tax rate back next time and make sure that money is sitting on the side to offset the shortage that we're going to have if we roll back the taxes to give the citizens back their money since we flushed with so much cash now. We ain't got to head of time. We can roll that tax increase back to 3.5 instead of having it at 3.9. I think, you know, again, it's sometimes you got to look and see what we're doing. And it can't always be, you know, one way or another. You know, we got other employees here. You know, what I mean, are you going to take their salaries up too? How are we going to get their salaries up? Was their retention package is $25,000. That's it. That's all they got in their bonus pool. $200,000 versus $25,000. No, I don't think it's right. So I'm not for it. All right, thanks.
Yeah. Councilman Jones said a new hand.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I'm looking at something here that says that, you know, that I was elected to ensure that all citizens receive all the services that their tax dollars entitle them. You know, and we're charged with every citizen being treated fairly and can live in a safe community. We're short-staffed in the police department. We need to build that police department back up again. I mean, there's no way of getting around public safety. Public safety is always going to be a part of the budget that if we're ensuring the citizens' safety, then we have to have officers, and we don't have an adequate amount of officers. I believe that this should go forth so that the administration and the police department can move forward with recruiting and finding officers. Like I said, if Bowie just found 7 officers to send to the academy, certainly Glenarden can find officers also and offer them something so that they can come to the city and that we'll be under the protection and of the safety that we've enjoyed over the years. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I'll just call, and like I said, I respect everybody's opinion. I made a motion. Councilwoman Jones seconded. You know, people can vote how they feel. So, Council Clerk, should you do a voice vote, please?
Yes. Councilwoman Cross,
Could you just restate the motion one more time for clarity, please?
It is increasing the retention and recruitment allocation from 88 to 200,000.
No.
Councilman Harrison,
No.
Councilman Herring,
No.
Councilwoman Jones,
Yes.
Councilman Williams, Councilman Williams, Mayor Pro Tem Ferguson,
No.
Mayor Curtis.
Yes. Okay. It
The
fails.
motion fails.
Thank you. All right. I believe, check the agenda. There's only one item, but I think that's for a closed session, and that relates to compensation for the council clerk compensation review. So, you know, I make a motion that we go into closed session briefly to discuss council clerk compensation. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, Madam Clerk, could you do a voice vote, please?
Sure. Councilwoman Cross,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison, Councilman Harrison,
Yes, sir.
Councilman Herring,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jones,
Yes.
Councilman Williams,
He
Mayor
dropped.
Pro Tem. Okay, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Ferguson,
Yes.
Mayor Curtis.
Yes.
The motion is passed to go into closed session.
Okay, thank you. The time is 8:57. The session is now closed. Only person we need is briefly maybe Miss Schultz, but everyone else, have a good night.